and today's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, one of the biggest mobile role-playing games of 2019, and it's totally free. Currently, almost 10 million users have joined Raid over six months.
Dude, do you have a script for that shit or something?
How much am I getting paid for this?
Nothing, because you're terrible.
Oh.
Hello and welcome to the first video now created by myself and the crew. My name is Laurin, usually pronounced Laurin, but no one can do that, so I'm Laurin. And with me I have first Tim Merdland, the man himself.
Tim, this is when you talk. This is when you talk, Tim.
I was about to say, Tim, this is when you're gonna talk.
This is your time to shine, buddy.
I realize that, but I'm horrible at introductions.
I'm gonna leave that in just because it's so natural. It's great. So also with me we have Amir. Also with me we have Amir who already talked.
Hello, I am Amir.
I'm here.
Surprisingly, I actually have a British accent. So, hi, my name's Amir. I'm a smoker player. I've been playing since 2009. Yeah, that's a long time.
I was about to say that's 11 years. Like I know the next person we introduce isn't even 11 years old. Hello, Aaron.
Hey. I've been waiting patiently. It's my turn.
Yeah, good job. Tim was waiting patiently even when it was his turn. So yeah, we came together to watch two replays.
I didn't get to introduce myself.
Yeah, you don't have to introduce yourself, Aaron. You are me anyways.
Okay. Well, I guess I don't get an introduction. Everybody knows who I am anyway. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So we decided to watch two games today and review them, like talk about them, how they played part in the teams, who won, who lost in the semifinals. The first game we have agreed on is Pat versus Arjun, game one, because that game both still played seriously and no one was heating around because the outcome wasn't necessary anymore. And the other game is Adam versus Alan in game three in their best of three, where both also played to the best of their ability because this match also mattered and the outcome was important for both teams. All right, let's start with Pat versus Arjun. First thoughts on the teams that are facing each other.
Actually, haven't watched this matchup at all, so this will be interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
I would like to assume Pat wins this based on matchup, but you never know with this shit.
yeah, I mean, it still has a Gallade and stuff like counter on Alakazam to be able to pressure certain Pokemon, but the matchup is in Pat's favor.
100%. Yeah, I think Gallade's the win con, and he has to play his Gallade well if he's gonna win this game.
But when I'm looking at this, I see Gen 7 monotype. I'm just thinking of like Normalium Victini going for like from the get-go. Just outspeed everything.
Yeah, you definitely gotta be careful with Celebrate.
Yeah, I mean, same for Jirachi, right? You can pull the same stuff out. All right, then I'm a countdown from 3, and on go we can start watching the replay on normal speed, not hyper fast, Amir.
Can you do the countdown
really
in
slow,
German?
so everything I say is.
What did Amir ask me? I didn't understand.
Can we have the countdown in German?
All right, we can have the countdown in German. 3, 2, 1, go!
Why did it sound like you said the same thing 3 times? Okay, let's do this.
You racist. First turn.
Of like Hydreigon. So yeah, we get a quick knockoff. You turn out.
So we also know this is a slow Jirachi, right? Because otherwise it would have outsped Crocodile. Gallade coming for the kill.
This also tells us he's probably Z Victini since he's not Z Jirachi.
Yeah, so. And here he keeps Gallade in against the Mug. Pretty bold move.
That was a pretty bad play.
Yeah, I agree.
Switch. You have to keep that defenses high.
Yeah.
You make a double switch to Hydrate. also switch out.
Alright.
I have no idea what's happening.
That pursuit was huge though. So we can pause here. We can pause here real quick after turn 5 after Victini came in.
Okay.
So what happened basically was, yeah, the win con came in first, right? Like Galate is massive in this matchup,
Yeah.
and it took down like a lot of months. So Jirachi U turned out, broke the sash on Crocodile lead, which I think is a good turn 1 play in general. Like just break the sash, and then the win con came in and claimed 1. Then against Muk, he kept going, which I think is dangerous because Muk
Yeah.
doesn't have to be the berry set, right? It could be
Yeah,
the knockoff pursuit thing.
Yeah,
By the way,
definitely.
did the crit matter?
I don't
it
think
may
crit
No, I
have
did. He
matters.
was
mattered,
minus 2. He
nah.
was minus. Yeah, I mean, I like that he got his Glade in early because he needs to give him a leg up. But he definitely should have switched before on the Muk, at least before the first PC.
So Hydrang also, like, Hydrang got claimed pretty easily, obviously, but then Weaver came in, and the Pursuit Weaver, we don't see it too often, indicates something like either Scarf or Band to me, because
Yeah.
like otherwise you wouldn't play Pursuit on it. And
Yeah,
it just
What
got
I like
rid of
about
Galate.
this as well. What I like about this as well is the way how he got Victini on the Weebrow. It allows him to get a free setup with the Normalium, I guess.
That is
But
true.
it's
Yeah,
no offensive pressure.
in a
Yeah.
sense,
Muk is very weak, so yeah.
in a sense, it's a win-win for Arjun because even if he didn't get pursued, he gets to keep his Glade and claim one later. But if he does pursue, we can assume this is banned or maybe it's banned Weavile because the life orb was not shown, and he gets a free setup with his big team. So it's kind of a win-win for him. And plus, a weakened Muk helps Victini. That way it puts it in focus blast range at +1. And so I mean, it's kind of a win-win for Arjun in any sort.
Yeah, so if this Victini is like setting up here like that, that's basically game if he hits all focus blasts and no sneaky
But
techs come in.
unfortunately, when you look at it, because the Jirachi is slow, this has to be like Scarf. So he has to U-turn out here, and if the pad stays in, this is gonna be very bad.
Alright, let's keep going in 3, 2, 1, go. There you go with the German countdowns. The Greninja obviously can come in on this because if it's weaker, it's like, okay, Greninja can die, but whatever.
So it's safe to say he's not Z no more when he reveals the U-turn, which is okay.
Yeah.
Would have won the game, but
This is also not Scarf Greninja, which sets up the premise for me that it's Scarf Weavile, because otherwise Scarf Greninja has to be.
And this has to be Z Latios now, right? I mean, 100%.
Yeah. I assume. Yeah, just stayed in, no fear.
I wouldn't have let the setup be go weekend.
Arjun said okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this thing also just dies. It's Scarf, so we know Scarf Weavile.
It is Scarf. So yeah, if he, I mean, well, I would say if he was set up Victini, he would have won. But if he could have weakened the Victini with something else, Weavile could have maybe revenged. But knockoff doesn't do that much to us as he celebrate at +1 defense. So that was kind of a tough matchup.
Easy hacks at the end, obviously, also,
course,
dodging the focus blast. So this is the first game we wanted to watch, and obviously the matchup was massively in Pet's favor. And I think Arjun played pretty well, but he got caught off guard by Weavile. Scarf Weavile also not that common.
I think he could have played a bit better.
Playing the Galate was safe, I think.
The Galate could have been played a bit later on when the team got a bit weakened. I think on the Greninja team, when we had like the Hydro Pump, it was pretty safe to switch from Celebi back into Victini and then get another U-turn. But actually, later on he revealed that he was banded, so yeah, I don't think he could do much. You need some speed control. Yeah.
Yeah, also no Z Crystal.
Yeah,
that
what was his Latios? Scarf?
Scarf Latios, we had leftovers on Jirachi, Mega Galate, Band Victini, Sash Alakazam.
What if Celebi was green?
So maybe Gracium sees Celebi.
Gracium Celebi with Massive, I would have done a lot of damage.
That'd have been interesting.
Yeah, that would have been very strong. But I think I disliked Z Celebi like ever, because I think it's too slow to get the Z out reliably. Like I preferred on a faster one.
but I mean it's bulky enough and
Yeah,
quite
true.
common in UU. It's quite even then they run Psychium or Gracium,
Yeah.
and I think Gracium would be very very useful in this team. But yet again, we can't judge because we don't know what he had.
Yeah, and also we gotta admit, like the Scarf Pursuit Reviler just was a
Yeah, that was-
massive play for against Gallade.
Yeah.
Came in clutch.
Ground EMZ Celebi could be pretty cool too if you're there's some certain matchups you don't like,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Steel. So ground
Yeah,
EM is
that is
also an option.
I mean, I'm also just confused. It's Psychic without Mew with Mew Z because that's so common.
Yeah. I mean, it would have done nothing there, but
Oh,
but
don't
yeah,
underestimate the Mew Focus Blast against Dark. Like you can sweep a Dark team.
or
Just like that.
Here.
Yeah, or
I used
Rossi.
to love running Double Dance with a Psychic Fighting coverage, as long as they don't have a Sableye. Which, past gen Sableye obviously had some usage, but...
Alright, with that out of the way, let's hop over to the other replay. Kinda
Yep.
Stupid versus Mr. Minor. So
3-1 here, Pat.
we have Adam, who Gen 7, like Fairy was like his go-to at the end of the gen, right? So he knows how to play around with his team. On the other side, we have Flying, probably the most versatile type. Probably the most versatile type in Gen 7 Mono, because you can just swap it around, and like Celesteela, for example, can be played as stall or a sweeper. You have the possibility to go Mantine for a more defensive version. Instead of Lander, you saw the Gliscor on more defensive teams for the recovery. Megazord, why?
Looks super scary. Yeah, this looks super scary. Especially if this was like a Megazord Y. Yeah, it literally just clicks one move and
it has to be Zard Y.
Yeah.
And it's like it looks pretty offensive, the team. Like it has no Mantine, no Gliscor, so I think it's an offensive team, a flying team, just from the looks of it. So I know that the lead for Fairy is Tapu Bulu. I didn't see the flying lead so far. But let's hop right in for the first 5 turns, and after turn 5 we can stop again to talk about how it unfolds at the start. 3, 2, 1, go! There you go with the German countdown. Okay, Lando and Bulu.
Okay, so it was Lando. Okay, wait, Scarf?
Yeah, I think it's Scarf v Scarf.
Okay.
And now we see Steela just Flash Cannon says... Well, he pressed Flash Cannon, so, which is also free against Fairy, basically, now. So, it did a lot of damage.
That was strange to go Klefki on the Celesteela when you could have done Coco.
I think he wanted to avoid chip.
Here, after the rocks?
Yeah, I've posted like right when Bulu came in turn 6, but it doesn't matter too much.
Okay.
Alright, so this...
spoilers.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert. Bulu comes in on Aerodactyl, never seen before. Yeah, I think...
Actually... Sorry, go ahead.
I think against Celesteela, because we didn't know if it's defensive or offensive. Or like Adam didn't. And there, I think because of that, of Celesteela's Flash Cannon is so imminent, and you need Coco alive at all costs, and above, I think, like 70% to survive Dragonite's E-Speed if worse comes worse. So I think preserving the HP on Coco was the right play, because Klefki always takes one, sets up light screen, can take a second one easily. If it's a sweeper stealer, you can also T-Wave. If he leech seeds, like, you don't care about it, because he can't toxic you.
Wait, what's the damage from Bulu to the Celesteela? Was that like Bandit?
It's probably Scarf, but since Steela is like full sweeper probably, because he revealed Flash Cannon, so it indicates sweeping. No defensive investment, like no recovery items, so it's probably the sweepers. That means Bulu can go big damage in there.
Yeah, Celesteela is gonna go really hard versus this team. Looking at it right now, if you just chaos with it and not like remove light screen,
Yeah.
Make it very nasty. And what's the form of default when I look at this team? Is it Scarf Lando?
I assume Scarf Lando with Defog, yeah.
Yeah.
That could
And
be the way.
I guess, elephant in the room, we can bring up Celesteela probably has automatized, whatever you want to. It's something like that.
Automatize, yes.
So it'll help it beat stuff like Coco. That way it can't get revenge as easily. So he's the fairy player who has to play well around that.
Yeah,
Just
but
in case he is.
we talked about how dangerous Steeler is, but on the other side, you've got a Coco with probably T-Bolt HP Ice, which can kill the entire flying team.
Yeah, I don't remember what set he was, but if he specs, it can be played around by Mr. Miner, like halfway played around. But if he's any maybe he's magnet or some other item, it's going to be trouble for this team for sure.
Yeah, and also you got Klefki with the light screen, and you got the Azumarill, which takes one hit from Steeler. Yeah, which takes a hit from Steeler, and then Aquajet comes in and deals massive damage, so you gotta play around that too.
Yeah, the only way to beating the Azu is using Dragonite. That's a very shady check, because they just literally just Aquajet or Flare Up without worrying about taking any damage from like Extreme Speed or Earthquake. So that's what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, it's dangerous. So like.
But the question is, how do you set up though? That's the question. You can probably set up versus like the Landorus.
Yeah, if Lando hits Defog, or if like
so
Charizard, maybe if Charizard is out and no Sun anymore, like if the Sunrise out, you can come in on it. I think
he doesn't really want to set it up until Dragonite is dead. I mean, he can get a pick off something, but Dragonite will always revenge the Azu fire play.
But also, you have to keep in mind, like against Azu, you have to sack something from flying, or you have to get rid of the rocks so Dragonite can catch the Aqua Jet, and then you have to hope he doesn't play rough that. So overall, a dangerous position.
He also can't set up on the Aerodactyl because it's more than likely constant rocks. And so yeah, there's not a lot of options for him to set up, but if he can get behind screens, there's potential there.
Yeah, and also Diancie. We said how scary Mega Charizard is, but Diancie also. Diamond Storm basically kills 90% of the team. Like, Celesteela survives, like, maybe one or two. But a third or a fourth one, not so much. And, like, that can't be your best switch, and, like, it's dangerous.
Yeah, it's good for him not to... Oh, well, one thing. It's good for him not to, like, lead Diancie and get the Mega off, because, yeah, I mean, it's nice to have your Magic Bounce available, but, I mean, Diancie can act as a semi-check to Charizard, because he can always switch in and take a Solar Beam.
Solar Beam one-hit KOs, I think, even if you don't Mega.
Even outside of Mega?
Let me.
I don't think so.
There are the replays. Let me go to damage calc and find it out. Oh, by the way, a black damage calc here because of an add-on. It's amazing. I love it. Let me hop to Sun and Moon. We go to Diancie. It's the monotype offensive fairy. We see no Mega. It's just a regular Diancie. Versus Charizard Mega. Why?
So I have the calc here. It does 88.7 minimum.
98.7 minimum and a 93.8% chance to one-hit KO if you minus on Speed F on Diancie. Let's take that out, just like I'm gonna just give it quirky because it doesn't matter. Even then, you have a 31.3% chance to one-hit KO and non-Mega.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the Solar Beam's still going to do a lot, but it gives you a Fire Blast switch in, if anything, because there's no Fire Blast switch in on Fairy, bar that.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty sketchy switch in though, because if you read it, like Solar Beam is a free click against most mons anyways. Like no one stays in with Bulu against Charizard, for example. So yeah, that's massive damage.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have the option if he Mega Evolved his Diancie turn 1. That's just all I'm saying,
Yeah.
He can always get it in and get it to switch in. He might take 40, 50, probably 50% from a Fire Blast or 95 from a Solar Beam, but it's an option to get Diancie on the field versus a Hyper Offense.
So, Tim, because this is one of your players and it was the enemies, how did the chat look for your team? Because I think it was like such an important match that I feel like you were kind of worried that you lose it. Like, or was it just like, play for fun, and if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose.
Are you trying for us to admit to ghosting? I plead the fifth.
I asked Tim because Tim doesn't talk much.
Here's the thing, because Aaron's gonna try and cover his ass anyway, just for the memes. But Aaron wasn't even there because he was working at the time. Actually, this was such a weird time for a match. Anyway, it was like I think it was like 9:30, 10 a.m. something like that. We were just like on a Sunday, so like no one's even fucking up anyway. But there was definitely stress in the chat because we needed this win. Like I told Alan, like don't fucking come back if you lose this game. Like you put us in a 3-1 hole if you lose this game. At the time, I thought it was gonna be Max playing next, and then Thomas. So I was just like, us going in 3-1 with Max still having to play. I don't know about those chances.
So that sounds sketchy, yeah.
So yeah, if Alan didn't win, if Alan came back without a win, we were just gonna be like, sorry, bro, you're off the team again.
I mean, this is probably like going down 1-3. I would say usually means your team doesn't make it anyways. So if you lost, your team would be out anyways, I think so. Yeah, so let's continue watching, like for like let's say like until like level turn like 12 or 13. Like if something major comes up, you can pause for
the end of 12. The end of 12.
All right, the end of 12. Three. Now let me really quickly count down on German again for people to be annoyed. 3, 2, 1, go.
What is go in German?
I just wait for go. Yeah.
Oh, go heißt los.
Nice. Goes.
3, 2, 1. Los.
Learning Hispanic style.
So
I can do that.
Are we learning German or are we watching the game?
With both. So here we see Defog came in to remove the screens also. That was a good double. Coco destroys Stealer.
Oh, Lando's out.
He knows it's Scarf Lando, so he will not stay in here. Okay.
Yeah. This is the whole thing.
Pause. No.
Yep. Yeah, so, if Coco would have got that 50-50 right, I mean, it's kind of safe for him to Thunderbolt because he has answers he'll always have an answer to Landers. I guess Landers can always U-turn on the Bulu switch in, but it's safe for him to T-Bolt, and I'm sure that's why he did it, but it's kind of, there's a lot of 50-50s with that matchup if he's choiced Coco, which I believe he is.
To be honest, I kind of want to disagree with this. The reason why he had to preserve the Celesteela, because Celesteela is the only Pokemon that can really break the Clefable, maybe damage Yazoo, and potentially get a sweep off. If he sacks the Celesteela, he's gonna be completely messed up. So there was a chance if he went for the Hidden Power Ice, that game would have been a lot more easier for kind of stupid. That was a kind of stupid play, no pun intended.
Oh, good. I think HP Ice was a better play too.
He has the Thundurus and he has the Landorus. So instead of going to Lando there, I would go Thundry because it covers both Hidden Power Ice and also the T-Bolt.
I think though I agree that Hidden Power Ice was the stronger play because there's no way in hell Celesteela stays in. Especially because even if he stays in, reading the Hidden Power Ice right the first time, the second time the enemy can still just T-Bolt you, right? Because you're still slower. And if you set up, you're faster, but you don't one-hit. So all around, HP Ice was a safe play because it hits everything and you still put yourself in a stronger... Tim, do you have something to say to this? You're so quiet. I'm not used to this.
Very shy.
mean, like, you guys are all over it. The only comment I'm gonna make isn't even like battle related. I'm just like, has anyone set up the GoFundMe to fund Femboy Hooters yet?
What the fuck? Is that a random question?
Well, because I'm paused at turn 12 and fun Femboy Hooters left.
Okay, fun Femboy Hooters left.
Okay.
Thanks for your insight. Aaron, how about you talk again?
At least
Oh,
$50 in that
Here's,
fund.
okay,
Will.
so here's what I'm thinking, right? I mean, yeah, sure, maybe Hidden Power Ice would have been a good play there, and he would have killed the Landers. But if he knows that he's choiced Coco, he can just go right back to Celesteela, and Celesteela. I mean, it might be a little too early. I mean, he might need to get a little bit more damage on Klefki, and it might have T-Wave, and probably a little bit more damage on Azumarill unless it +1 kills. I'm not sure, but I just feel like we don't want to give Celesteela a chance to win the game. And so if he Hidden Power Ice there and killed Lando, sure, that's great. But we get to let Celesteela come back into the game, and, threaten the team again. I mean, if he's not choiced, I mean, if he's not choiced Coco, then Hidden Power Ice was safe, because then if Celesteela stayed in, he could just T-bolt at the next, or he could just T-bolt at the next turn when Celesteela comes back out. But I don't know. I just feel like T-bolt was a safe play, because if he goes Thunders, he has stuff for that. If he goes Landers, he can go Boo. It was a safe play. He doesn't have to try to make a I mean, it's not really a play, but he doesn't want Celesteela to have free setup, I guess you could say.
Yeah, but like the setup didn't matter because Coco easily takes one hit from Stealer anyways.
I'm not sure if you guys are on turn 12.
Yeah.
Okay, so I really like that U-turn, predicting the Tapu Bulu, mainly because you get in your Celesteela for free, and you get a fire off a free flash cannon. So that is great for the Mr. Miner.
Can I say something
Very good
else?
position.
Can I tell? Look, after turn 6, because Tim said Aaron is not ghosting. That these events should tell everyone that Aaron couldn't be possibly ghosting. Aerodactyl used Stealth Rocks. Then then the Rock Slides come in. Then Aerodactyl faints. Then Lando comes in and defogs. After placing Stealth Rocks, you defog a few turns later, your own rocks, and lost your rock setter.
That's an roller coaster.
That's an Allen type of thing. Yeah, that's not me.
Hey, at least you remembered that if he gets seated, he can't defog them off of himself.
Yeah. He learned his mistake versus me.
Yeah, you can rapid spin it off.
We gotta review that game now.
Nah, we will maybe another time.
Let's do the Ubers game I had with him when I doubled the Doug Trio on his Palmo Groudon and just.
How about we take your match versus Rudy because you lost?
No, how about we not?
Okay, you can do the counter this time, Amir.
Alright. So, Dano, Zwelios, Hydreigon, go.
Hydreigon is probably not a one.
I have a feeling that wasn't another language. But
oh, look at the flamethrower catching Klefki. And now that's huge because now, like.
Finally decided to hit flamethrower.
Right there. Props to Alan.
Thunderous comes in clean. Oh, so it's not
there
choice.
That's the play I was talking about. That was the mid ground.
Yeah.
That's not bad. T-Bolt was interesting.
I think the Thunderous doesn't have a better move, I guess.
Yeah. Hidden Power Ice doing 69% is nice.
Oh, see, look, he's not choiced. Okay, well, I would have clicked Hidden Power Ice.
Oh, that's a nice double out again, like, just pressuring. Okay, so.
You wanna pause after 18?
Let's pause after, like, what turn are we on? I'm on turn 21 now.
Pause it after 22.
I've paused it at 21.
Okay. Alright, so now that we see that it's not...
let me scroll up to turn 12 so I can read up on the chat while we talk about the plays.
Yeah. So, now that we see that Coco is not choiced in any way and it can't be punished by, clicking Hidden Power Ice as specs in front to a Celesteela. I mean, Hidden Power Ice was the play there, as y'all were saying, because he would have done damage on something because he can't sack his Celesteela. And if he would have went Celesteela the next turn thinking it was specs or something of that sort, he could have just T-Bolt and killed Celis. So so I would have clicked Hidden Power Ice there, and that would have been, detrimental for Mr. Miner. But if he was choiced, I definitely agreed with the T-Bolt play. But
also,
seeing that he is not choiced, I Hidden Power Ice was the play.
We see the punishment unravel because that gave Alan the defog. Because otherwise Lando would be dead and you would have no longer been the power to defog the rocks. And that is flying is like terrible for you.
Yeah.
I love Mr. Miner's comment on turn 19. Tell your ghosters to hurry up.
So it looks
It's
like
funny.
they've took some time. So I wanna quickly go over like turn 13. Nice flamethrower catch on Klefki. Like Klefki is such a menace with the screens and T-wave spread that the catch on it
Especially
was
T-Wave,
massive. Afterwards, yeah, Thunderous was like the middle ground because T-Bot does nothing. We get revealed that it's no choice Coco, so Hidden Power Ice already had to come out.
Yep.
The Hidden Power Ice crit is a little unlucky for Alan, I think, because otherwise, like, T-Bolt versus Hidden Power Ice, I think, like, comes down to rolls for, like, Coco with the Hidden Power Ice, but I'm not 100% sure on it. But then, like, turn 17 and 18, like, that's a massive double,
Turn
right?
80. Yeah.
18. You know the age you didn't hit yet, apparently. So, turn 17, like, okay, Thunderous dies, you got Dragon Knight, you threaten the extreme speed, right? On the low life Coco. But then, he immediately doubles out to Stealer, because probably the best E-speed switch in against Dragon Knight's E-speed is Diancie, just eating up the E-speeds easily. So that was a pretty good double to Stealer. Clefable came in, which is also a good switch in into E-speed anyways. But the switch to Charizard against Clefable makes sense to me because like you don't know if this Clefable is T-Wave Babiri Berry, and you don't want your sweeper to get T-Waved. So it was a good switch out. But basically there he revealed that Clefable is not Babiri Berry because he swapped it out to Azumarill, which shows that he was scared to get one-shot by Flash Cannon. And I think that's a turn that gives him much more intel than people would lead on. Like, that intel out of that turn can, like, decide who wins the game. Because if you say, oh, he doesn't have Babiri Berry, so I can keep my sweep going. Compared to, oh, what if this is Babiri Berry and Steelers may only win con? Like, that's two massive differences. So I think that was maybe should have even stayed in with Clefable at that turn. But Charizard comes in, Azumarill comes in, like, both make sense. Stealer can't one-shot Azumarill, and Charizard more than pressures everything anyways. And the Solar Beam play against Azumarill, obviously the best play because there's no switching into, like, Solar Beam. Like,
Yeah,
you go
didn't scout for
Bulu,
Sap
yeah.
Sipper. Fucking thrower.
Yeah, that's not a
I
Sap
don't think you're
Sipper.
gonna be I don't think you're gonna be Sap Sipper on this.
I know. I'm
The thing
just
I was
playing.
looking at was the crits versus the Thunderous.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, he got like one T-ball, two T-balls. Yeah, he could have had. I think he would have room for a third.
It's a roll, I think.
Yeah, it's a
That would've been a
2%
close roll.
chance to OHKO it. It's a 2% chance to 2-KO it. So that was definitely most likely gonna be 2-KO.
Yeah.
So he would get much more if he got this another crit, another T-ball buff.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
would benefit much more of the team, removing the Coco.
Also, I kind of so I disagree with staying in on Coco against the Thunderous because it could have Sludge Wave, and you need Coco alive against flying badly.
Yeah, that makes me think that Adam didn't have a ghost in this game because he tried to sack his Coco there. But if it was Adam, he would have sacked it turn 2 and not turn 19. So keep that in mind.
Adam, you can freely talk shit against him whenever, you know that.
It would have been turn 2 if it was truly Adam playing in the game. So
Alright,
that's...
Tim, you're allowed to count us down this time.
Bien, Schwanz Gross.
Where's the go at?
You're not Tim.
Hey, I
was
need
just
to go.
Oh, someone took my shit, man.
Tim,
That's fine.
Tim, you count us down now.
Tres,
us down.
dos, uno. Venga.
Seven,
Abiba.
3, 1, go.
Okay, I clicked start at the right time. Fire Blast, catch a Clefable, big turn. Diancie kills Charizard, but Charizard is not needed anymore, basically, right? Like,
Yep.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
Steeler comes in,
Only-
pressures whatever.
Yeah, this looks like game over. Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually, yeah. If you see, it tanks a flash cannon. It's set up with the sea belly drum, and the sun wears
This
out,
is
so
fine.
Aquajet kills, right?
He just switches out.
Right.
Why did he go to Dragonite?
You want to pause
That
it? You want to
was
pause it after?
risky.
All right,
Pause it after 27.
all right. I'm pausing after 27.
When Celestial is in Diance's on the field.
All right.
So,
All right, a lot just happened. A lot.
so let's
This was huge.
go up. Yeah, so turn 21, Fire Blast kills Clefable. Clefable,
22. Kind of stupid tells him to tell your ghost to hurry up.
Yep.
Yeah, they were both taking forever this match, so like they were both warranted for saying that.
so the Diamond Storm killing the Charizard. Charizard wasn't necessarily needed anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
And like, you have no switch in Diancie otherwise, so I think that's a good sack there.
The only reason you would want to keep the Zard was the sun.
Yes.
Like, if you want to, for example, check the Azu later on with like a Celesteela, you use the sun from Zard, sack that, then go Celesteela, revenge kill. That's the only reason why I see it to keep Zard.
Yeah, so the sack, I agree with the sack, because like, you kind of want to keep Landorus alive for, if he sacks Bulu, you can Earthquake everything, position and stuff like that, so I kind of agree with the Charizard sack. So, Azumarill comes in on Steeler and they automatize. Like, at that switch in, you knew, like, that Azumarill will take the Flash Cannon easily, and then Z Belly Drum gives him the power to kill Celesteela with Aquajet from this range.
Yep.
And since Steeler is always Metronome, like, you can't risk clicking Knockoff or Play Rough,
Wait,
because
hold up. Why are you running Metronome?
on Steeler,
Day
it's
and age.
it's
Metronome got nerfed. You know that.
oh,
It doesn't work no
Gen
longer how it used to be.
Gen 7, like,
not
people
Gen.
still played Metronome.
I mean,
The-
no, not Gen. I mean, like, Shodan had it programmed wrongly. So whenever you click like protect, or the attack, or for example you attack the Pokemon and it misses, the metronome terms get reset to 0 again.
Yes. I know that. But, like, I
That
think
sucks.
Metronome on Steeler was the go-to anyways. And because he
Yeah.
didn't reveal an item so far, I feel like it's Metronome. Which makes sense because it is the most used item, because you mainly, like, against certain types, you always click the same move over and over again anyways. Against Steel, once Heatran is down, you just keep clicking Flamethrower the rest of the game. Against Fairy, you keep clicking Flash Cannon the rest of the game. So I think Metronome makes sense on Steeler. It's like
I mean,
a good
it also,
item.
It also makes sense on that specific set though as well, because like if you can set up an automize, then you're gonna keep clicking the same move over and over usually, like versus the same type, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Metronome is, I guess, essentially buffed in Mother type, if you want to call it that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It's a
Yeah,
good
I
item.
see that way. Yeah. Either that or weakness policy. Weakness policy has its use as well here.
I think if you play a physical move on Steeler, weakness policy makes sense. So if he's EQ, for example. But I think if you have full special, Metronome
Yeah.
is
And
more useful.
I could see using weakness policy Celesteal and maybe on Steel with a screens cuff key, maybe, but yeah. Because it would be good if it had screens that it could, utilize the weakness policy more efficiently.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I think the swap to Dragonite was reasonable. Because Aquajet, Aquajet kills Steeler because it has no defensive investment as a sweeper.
I was actually thinking, what if he sacked Landorus instead of going hard Dragonite? That would be much more safer.
I think Dragonite makes sense though, because you like you
Like,
don't
what if
need.
there was the off chance he clicked, let's say, knockoff or something like that.
Like there's even, I think there's still a chance that you survive a knockoff because you have multiscale and E-speed still hurts.
Yeah, but you're at like 51%. You don't kill with E-speed, but if he clicks knockoff and then he clicks what's they call it, exchange speed, you knockoff into aquajets, you do kill the Dragonite, especially at +6.
Extreme speed does 50% plus to Azumarill. Let's keep that in mind. Band extreme speed does.
Oh, that's
100%.
banded.
It does. It does 51 to like 58. Yeah.
So like
that's why I was safe.
I think the risk, like the risk, I can see the risk of saying, oh, what if he knock us? But there was no reason for him to knock off because Steeler, if the enemy stayed on the Steeler and just pressed Flash Cannon again, you just lose the game from there, like 100%. So to ensure you even have a chance at staying in the game, Aquajet makes the most sense, I think, in this position.
Yeah.
And then you can keep Lando because Lando gives you the power to like EQ down. Like let's say the enemy like Steeler dies and like you chip with Dragonite so that Bulu is drops low and everything's in EQ range. Like Scarf Lando still has a use at that position, while like Dragonite only is there to keep Azumarill in check.
By the way, back to the Azu versus D-Knight.
Yeah.
It depends on the Azu's spread as well. If they're like max HP,
They run max speed.
they run max speed.
Yeah,
they all run
Okay.
max. They're adamant. Adamant max speed.
Adamant, full attack, full speed. Yeah.
Yeah, I know this because a lot of speed tiers with some bulkier Pokemon you'll see in Gen 7 Monotype. That's a speed tier you want to hit. I think it's 205 to outpace Adamant. 252 speed Azumarill. Let me look. No, it's 200. Yeah, so that was a speed tier a lot of Pokemons like to have that could resist Aquajet, so they could check Azumarill in this tier.
Yeah. And
the more you learn.
yeah, I mean Monotype is also sometimes actually weird sets come in Monotype make good usage because they are so well fitting for bad matchups. Yeah, so yeah, we see so the Aquajet comes out because like otherwise he auto loses to Steeler if the enemy stays in on Steeler. So the Dragonite comes in. Still, yeah, it looks pretty risky, but I think he made a safe play there.
Yep.
Even just E-speeding, like, you know, even if Diancie comes in, like, you can still then sack Lando and go to Steeler and just set up again.
Yeah. Okay, now that makes sense, yeah.
So yeah, we can watch Aaron, you count us down now.
Alright. Tres, dos, uno, venga.
Okay. So it's hidden power fire Diancie, by the way, like what the fuck?
That's interesting.
No weakness policy on Celesteela, I guess. So it is probably metronome.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now Flash Cannon comes in and like.
Yeah, that looks like game now.
Yeah. If Aquajet doesn't kill, yeah, that's game.
Yeah.
I don't know the role on that, but I can remember watching because I was at work. I was peeking at my phone every once in a while.
We have to point out though, classical Adam Manor turn 30, garbage matchup all 3 games. I think Fairy can deal pretty well with flying. Yeah, but I think like it's not telling the full story if you say garbage matchup, because I think Fairy versus flying, like you have to preserve the win cons. And one player played his win con better this game.
If anything, Fairy had the better matchup here. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, if Coco is alive, like at 100%, if you don't let Coco die to Thunderous, like it even takes a +1 Steeler's Flash Cannon.
I calculated even if you're Mata Celesteela and you're at +1, it does 99.6 max.
Something I don't agree with, like in the overall, if he kept the Cliffkeeper later on,
yeah,
he could have probably set up with Azu and won. Like all he needed was one Reflect Up, set up with Belly Drum Azu, and then the Dragonite cannot revenge kill you, and you're gonna be good. You're set. That's it. Game is over. You Belly Drum, you win.
And then prefer to have rocks up because if Dragonite's at full HP, it can click another move. But yeah.
Yeah.
You don't even need rocks up. You literally just sweep.
Well,
without,
play rough kills it, and what is it gonna do? Like EQ and E-speed don't kill,
Yeah, that's fair.
and outrage and fire punch or superpower are the last two moves. You ain't clicking
Yeah.
that.
That's fair.
Yeah, like the most damage that you could do with, like, let's say extreme speed doing like 25%. That's nothing. Absolutely nothing. If you let's say he has even the rare, very rare thunder punch, right? That's gonna do 48 maximum.
Yeah.
Even after a belly drum plus 6, you're gonna still live that.
Yeah, and play rough always kills,
That's
and
an
then you aquajet everything else.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like Klefki is such a menace to like offensive teams because screens are so good.
Yeah, you should never sack that. Like, sacking the Klefki was like that's game over. Because you could have utilized that to your advantage.
So yeah, that series, Alan won against Adam in the best of 3 in Gen 7 Mono, which I think on average you could consider an upset because Adam is the more experienced Gen 7 Mono player. But I think it was that match 3 at least, like, was a pretty good match. So I think they both played well, and like one preserved his win con better than the other, but it still was a close match, right? Like if Steela didn't survive the Aquajet, like that's game.
Yep.
Okay, and today's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, one of the biggest mobile role-playing games of 2019, and it's totally free. Currently, almost 10 million users has joined Raid over six months.
Dude, do you have a script or something?
Hell yeah.
Oh, good God.
And it's one of the most impressive games in class with environments and smooth of 60 frames per second.
Today's games are sponsored by Amir. Amir is totally free.
Not sponsored by anyone, but if Raid Shadow Legends wants to give us money, sure.
That is true.
Please, so I'm.
Oh, hold up.
You have to send. You have to cut
We've
out.
got another sponsor.
You can shut up for a minute. We have to send.
This video is sponsored by NordVPN.
I hate this man. Wait.
Difficulty that you could be
Alright, I've muted him server-wide. So I can talk freely for a moment. Hey, this is our final words for everyone, so thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions for the future, what to change and stuff like that, tell them to us. Like, every one of us is working on this together. This is a group project. We are Fear, and we want to stand as a group. So, any suggestions are welcome. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful time.